Hi, it's Travis White with the Persuasive Communication Tip of the Week. Where are you more likely to fall asleep? Sitting around a table talking with friends, or as a member of an audience listening to a presentation? If you're like me, you're more likely to fall asleep in the audience listening to a presentation. But there are a lot of techniques, things that happen during a conversation with friends that we can learn from and we can use as we give presentations to hold your audience's attention. And let's just summarize a few of those. One is eye contact. When you're talking to friends, you look at each other, and that gives a lot of information about what you're saying and who's going to speak next. You can do the same with your audience. In fact, I would encourage you to look at your audience, maintain eye contact with key individuals in your audience. They will tell you a lot about what they're thinking and how you're doing. We often say in a rehearsal, you should use a mirror so you can see what you look like to your audience. When you're giving the presentation itself, use the audience as your mirror. They will tell you a lot about whether you should speed up, whether you should slow down, whether you should re-summarize your points, all those kinds of things. So eye contact is very important. In a group of friends, we'll often ask questions of each other. Same technique can be used with an audience in a presentation. We ask questions about how many have had the following experience? Raise your hand if you've had this kind of experience. Raise your hand if you've done this or done that. You can often use a single hand clap. If you agree with the following statement, clap your hands once. There's also more sophisticated devices that allow the audience to respond to multiple choice questions. We often use puzzles when we're talking with friends as well. You'll never guess what happened to me today. That creates a sense of interest, a sense of wonderment. We can use the same kinds of puzzles when we talk to an audience. I was reading our competitor's website today, and I saw something I thought was very true. That's an unexpected statement. That creates a sense of wonderment, a sense of interest and intrigue, and that will hold your audience's attention. We also use different tones of voice, changes in tone of voice, changes in volume, changes in how we're speaking when we talk to our friends. And the tone of voice changes and the changes in emphasis can communicate a lot of information about what we're saying. Just remember, when you're speaking to an audience, you'll also want to use changes in tone of voice to communicate information. The difference is your audience is farther away from you and they can't hear those changes in tone of voice as clearly as when you're sitting around a table with a group of friends. So always speak a little more loudly than may feel comfortable to you so that everybody can hear you, and make changes in tone of voice, changes in emphasis a little more dramatic than might feel comfortable to you because your audience is farther away from you. And finally, there's two words. If you lose your audience's attention, there's two magic words that will always bring your audience's attention back to you. Let's say you're explaining some kind of abstract point and you can tell by watching the audience that they're drifting away, that you're losing their attention. How do you get the attention back? Two magic words, for example. You say those two magic words, your audience will come back to you because they're expecting you to tell a story. They love listening to stories, just like children love listening to stories. We all enjoy stories. And for example is the introduction to a story. So that's a good way to recapture your audience's attention when you've seen them drift away from you. So think about your interaction with friends around a table, how you would talk, how your tone of voice changes, how you use questions and puzzles. Use many of those same techniques when you're giving your persuasive presentation. And that's the Persuasive Communication Tip of the Week. See you again next week.